Commission on the presentation of the April edition of the monthly Human Rights Dashboard on Human Rights Act, the Buhari Bello Auditorium National Human Rights Commission, Abuja, on the 10th day of May 2024. I've already read out the protocol, and I welcome you on behalf of the Executive Secretary, Chief Dr. Tony Ojukwu, SAN, OFR, who is unavoidably absent, and I have the rare privilege of sitting in for him. I'm very delighted at the opportunity we have to present the April edition of our monthly dashboard on the state of human rights in Nigeria. The Commission has the onerous task under our Establishment Act to present a report on the state of human rights in Nigeria. We have been rendering this report to the National Assembly and the government of Nigeria on an annual basis, and this document has been a reference material accessible to all interested persons and authorities to gain insight on the status of human rights in Nigeria. The monthly dashboard on the state of human rights is born out of the necessity by the Commission to monitor, investigate, and report on human rights in real time on a national scale in line with its mandate. The dashboard is a unique and distinctive initiative of the Commission that presents an infographic report on where we stand on human rights in our country. These facts, statistics, and analysis of human rights violation across board and specific thematic areas provide policymakers, international partners, law enforcement agencies, civil society actors, and the media with the opportunity of gaining insights into the evolving human rights landscape in Nigeria and exploring collaborative avenues for addressing emerging challenges. Beyond providing a graphic presentation of the human rights situation, the April dashboard also serves as a guide and a measurement of our progress, realizing the human rights of every Nigerian. It provides information that will trigger a chain of multifaceted actions from every arm of government in tackling insecurity, poverty, and inequalities in our country. We also hope that this dashboard process will assist the government in keeping track of its obligation to national, regional, and international human rights instruments and mechanisms. The Commission remains committed at making accessible information on human rights, and we continue to cooperate with government at all levels, civil society, media, and international development partners towards the promotion, protection, and enforcement of human rights in Nigeria. The dashboard will also galvanize good collaboration between the Commission, our partners, and all human rights actors in data sharing and open up spaces for intervention in particular areas of interest towards the advancement of the cause of human rights in our country. It is important for us to know that the data on the chart or diagram is generated from our field offices operations across the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. I want to end by extending our appreciation to the United Nations Development Programme for its support through the Tripartite Partnership Program. I also wish to thank all our partners, guests, staff, members of the electronic and print media for engaging with this process. I would like to particularly flag with emphasis the appreciation of the team of staff that have made this to be a continuous process, and we know and appreciate the effort that has gone in. So thank you all for listening. This is by Tony Ojukwu, OFR, SAN, FIC, MC, Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission. I welcome you once more.
Thank you very much, the representative of the Executive Secretary. So we've heard him.
We thought it was a tea party. But as I am telling you now, I am not sure if we have gotten like up to 4 hours of sleep within the last 1 week. It's a huge enterprise, and this is the time you say, who sent me message? Okay? But we'll have to do what we'll have to do, and there is a set of people that we haven't thanked. the people who supply the data that we are using today, and that is our state offices. Can we put our hands together for our state offices? And I hope they are joining us via Zoom, right? So we have them joining via Zoom. So without wasting your time, I'm sure some of you have been here from 10. We have some very huge developments that we would like to share with you, in addition to the dashboard. And that is the fact that within the last 1 month, our numbers have increased astronomically in terms of complaints that are coming to the commission across the states. And that is why this April dashboard was a huge challenge putting together, because we already have a template. So now we are expanding the templates to include all of the new complaints that have been coming. We also did something that is unique, and that is what we call a victim impact assessment. Okay? What you always know is that a woman's right was violated, maybe by her husband. But you don't know that that single woman whose right was violated has multiplier impact on her children, on whether they go to school, on the woman's right to health. You know, she was physically abused, but it has also triggered her right to health. It has triggered the right to development for her children, because apparently the man beat her up and ran away. So there are human rights, practically every human right has a multiplier effect. And most times the NHRC deal with both the direct and the indirect impact of human rights violations. So we have taken the decision that we'll begin to capture all of those. And we've done that for April, which we're going to share with you. It's astronomical. You know, it's getting up to 100,000, you know, but we are taking our time to make sure that our data is respected and also has integrity. So I would start by, next slide. I will start by just giving us a snapshot of what has happened in terms of the general human rights situation. Where are we? Over the last 1 month, quite a number of things happened. I have already highlighted one, which is an upsurge in the human rights complaints that have been coming to the commission. What I haven't also told you is that we have other instruments and departments or units that are also charged with data collection and statistics, dealing with our human rights statistics. So what we have done as a team is to work with them towards harmonizing the data that they also are privy to. And together we have come up with all the complaints that have come in. But in addition to the complaints, we have also done that which I told you, the victim impact assessment, which takes care of how the human rights violations have impacted on every other person that is related to the victim in one way or the other. Another major happening within the month of April is that it seems that the media has come under attack. The media, journalists have come under attack in the exercise of their duties, their constitutional role, which is provided for in Section 22 of the Constitution. We believe as a commission that that has come under attack. We are not saying that journalists are above the law. We are saying that journalists should be protected because of the unique role that they play. I will tell you what one American president said about press. He said, and I want to paraphrase, give me a society without a government or a society without newspapers. I will take the latter, because a society that has newspapers, that have media freedom, is a civilized society. Is the crucible, the centerpiece of democracy. And where journalists cannot cannot perform their trade freely without harassment, then it also means that democracy is under attack. And the Commission continues to call on law enforcement and the government in general to ensure that whenever or wherever an allegation against a media personality or any Nigerian for that matter has arisen, that due process of the law must be followed. And one of the due processes is that constitutional provision which mandates that you do not detain people indiscriminately and without a limit. Every detention must have a limit that has been imposed upon it by law. We have also seen the rise in mass killings across some states in Nigeria, and we are going to see those states. And it's worrisome that what we started keeping in since January, the number of killings in Nigeria monthly continues to arise. Killing of law enforcement and members of the armed forces is still something that we are seeing again in the month of April. You recall in March where we had the issue of killings in Delta State. We are still having killings of law enforcement and armed forces even in May. And we want to say that no country can afford to have its uniformed personnel being slaughtered on daily basis or on monthly basis, as we are beginning to see. We have also seen the rise in cases of violence against children, and this violence comes in various ways. We've seen in the month of April, for instance, we've recorded over 10 defilements. 10 defilements of minors. You know, when it is minor, you don't use rape. We have recorded this upsurge, and we really don't know why we should be having this at this point in time. Then we have also seen that the economic reforms being introduced by government, as well thought out as they are also impacting on human rights. They are impacting on the enjoyment of civil, political, economic, social, and cultural rights. And our voices are not alone in this. The voices of civil society, the labor unions have all called on government to ensure that these economic reforms are human right-based, they are reforms with human face, and also reform that comes with cushioning effect, palliatives for people to continue to have access to them while government implements their reform. For the month of April, we had a total of 19,470 human rights complaints. This is huge increase from what we had last month. And chief among them continues to be the human rights violations attributed to state actors, especially the police and the military. We have followed is domestic violence, and of course, actions attributed to non-state actors, and then violation of the rights of children. I would like to call upon all of us to view very seriously the upsurge in the number of violations in the right of children, because these are the core of the vulnerable groups. Children cannot defend themselves. Children depend on the apparatus of the state to defend them from human rights abuses and violations, even from their own parents, as we are seeing in these violations. The major violators are people who live under the same roof with these children. Let's see human rights complaints across the geopolitical zones. For April, the North Central towers with almost 5,000 complaints. It is followed by the Northeast and the Northwest in that category. The lowest is the South-South let us look at the top 10 states. We tried to, incidentally, the top 10 states cut across the 6 geopolitical zones. Borno tops with over 1,200 violations, followed by Kano. The list is Abia and Rivers in the southeast and south-south respectively. Let's look at the thematic complaints across geopolitical zones. And I would like you to take cognizance of the blue and the gray bars. The blue bar refers to northwest. So what it means is that in the northwest, we have the highest violation of economic, social, and cultural rights. Incidentally, the northwest is also part of Nigeria where you have the highest incidence of poverty. If you look at the gray bar that you find under domestic violence and assault, what it shows you is that the North Central has the highest level of domestic violence and assault. And there, so it continues. And of course, the green bar, the green and the blue bar are the south-south and the southeastern regions, respectively. Let's look at other composition of this dashboard. In April 2024, just like in previous months, we have parents of children being the highest violators of human rights. Now, somebody once asked me, what do these parents do to violate this right? If you look at the Child Rights Act and you look at the Universal Basic Education Act as well, a combined reading of both instruments would tell you that when your child does not go to school, you can sit in your house and blame the government forever. But according to those two laws, you are already a violator of human rights. Maybe in partnership with the government, but you are the primary violator of human rights. When you withdraw your children from school, you are violating their human rights. When you make your children to do hard labor, you are violating their human rights. In fact, the one for hard labor is even punishable by stiffer penalties. But the question is, how many parents know this, or those who know would not actually see it as violations because culture and tradition entails that children will go trek for 2 kilometers to fetch firewood or to fetch water. And also the lack of basic infrastructure drives this violation against children. Where you don't have access to water, you don't have access to energy, children are left to fend for themselves, and these are key violations of human rights which we are expressing here today. Other violators include bandits and militia groups, and of course the Nigerian police and the military. And this is also something that we continue to follow up. Next. Okay, so let us look at the violation of children's rights in details. Child abandonment, again, child abandonment, 491. Child abandonment is over 75% of the violation of the rights of children. The key question is, why are parents, especially fathers, abandoning their children? Is it as a result of the economic situation in the country? Are there other reasons extraneous to this that we can also take from? This is spread across all the states in Nigeria. practically every state and FCT is guilty of these numbers that you're seeing here today. The next one is inhuman and degrading treatment. Children are being tortured. Children who are house helps, children who are servants, children who are living with relations. We see video clips every day. So these complaints come to the commission, either directly by the relations of these children or people who are in loco parentis to these children. And it is an alarming situation when you view these statistics on how our children are being treated. The other one, two things I would like to raise is child marriage. You think it's not happening? Young girls, even as young as 12 years old, are being betrothed, are being married off by parents who give out their children in exchange for money. We also have rape and defilement. I've already mentioned this initially. We see children being raped even in religious institutions. And we continue to advocate that the stiffest penalty prescribed under the laws of Nigeria should be meted to whoever is found guilty of rape or defilement. And states that haven't established special courts to deal with this should do so as quickly as possible. There are already states that we can learn best practices from: Lagos, Ekiti State. There are so many other states that have already set the pace as far as this is concerned. Next. In terms of economic, social, and cultural rights, these are some of the figures we are getting as well, and you wouldn't blame Nigerians when they complain about their economic, social, and cultural rights. Things are really tough for everyone, and we continue to appeal for a human rights-centered approach to economic reforms. Next. So in March, we started a slide on states in focus, where we raise issues about particular states that we have found some worrisome developments in terms of human rights in those states. We are presenting to you 4 states today. In Anambra, we have seen an upsurge in cult-related killings. You would see that. We have also seen in Plateau State non-stop killings that are related to ethnicity and religion. And for the month of April is not an exception. There were multiple killings in Plateau State. In Enugu State, the ghost of the Nimbo community was resurrected again, something we saw a few years ago. This year, and in the month of April, 4 people and many more were 4 people were killed and many more injured in Nimbo in Enugu State. I think that's also one in local government. And we continue to call on the state government to rise to the occasion and play its role under Section 14, subsection 2B, on protecting the life and security of the citizens of Enugu State. In Kogi, we had double attacks that resulted in mass casualties, as you are going to see in the next slide. So we have decided to show you, even though we have a total figure of the killings that happened in April, we decided to show this, I could say, 7 states where mass killings happened in April 2024. And for us, mass killing is any killing that probably within one fell swoop has at least 5 people being killed. We are not saying that when one person is killed, that's already a violation of right. But for us to attach that mass to it, it has to be a group of people. So in Bayelsa, we saw 20 people were killed, and this was attributed to the Nigerian military. Investigations are still on that. In Benue, we had 28 people in a community killed in one fell swoop. In Kaduna, 23. In Plateau, 15. Now, Kogi State presents for us a unique situation. In less than 2 weeks, there was an attack, 2 separate attacks that we decided to show the 2 of them separately so that we don't merge it. And some people in my team who are from Kogi State will say, that is it up to 50 or 45? No, there are 2 separate incidents and we are presenting them to you right away. In Anambra, there were 13 incidents, an incident that 13 people were killed in cult-related attacks. So let's go to issue in focus. Issue in focus is where we present to you issues around human rights that have emerged boldly in the month under review. And for the month of April, it's about cultism. We recorded cultism-related killings in 3 states of Anambra, where we had 20 people killed, Edo, where there were 3 people that were killed in Benin City, and 1 in Enugu. The thing about cultism is that on a good day, proponents of cultism would say that they are expressing their right to freedom of association. Some would also tell you that it is their freedom of religion and thought. But when cultism now translates to the killing of innocent people, wanton destruction of public and private property, it is no longer human rights. And that is why even under the Constitution, even under the guarantee of the right to freedom of religion and belief, there is a caveat that nothing in that section entitles you to belong to a secret society. And belonging to a secret society is a disqualification for holding any government elective post. It's a disqualification for even contesting. So that's to show you the protection offered Nigerians on anything related to cultism. But now we are seeing cultism expressing itself on the streets of state capitals in Nigeria, and we call on the relevant authorities to ensure that our schools are safe and our streets are safe. The other one is, of course, I've talked about attacks on press freedom. I cannot, and the Commission cannot overemphasize on the need for press freedom. Just about a week ago, we celebrated the World Press Freedom Day. And on that day, a journalist was arrested. That journalist is still under detention almost 10 days after he was arrested. We reiterate again that no one is above the law, but when you arrest someone, the Constitution is very clear. You charge to court within 48 hours. At most, you can stay 72 hours, where there is no court within a certain kilometer. But you don't detain in perpetuity without going to get an order of a court, especially when it has to do with human rights and press freedom. We also are beginning to see this whole issue of watch list. You know, you travel, you get to an airport, they say your name has been flagged. What did you do? They say, wait aside. I am sure we all know Comrade Lanre Arogundade. He is a foremost Nigerian journalist and has advocated for press freedom for almost his entire life. And he was stopped at the airport, and we want to continue to appeal to the security agencies that we are now in a democracy. Some of these draconian and military vestiges, we need to put them away. And the Commission remains open to work with our security agencies, law enforcement, armed forces, to begin to integrate human rights practices into their respective operations. We do not have any room for placing people, free Nigerians, human rights defenders on watch lists. The people that are put on watch lists are terrorists, not human rights defenders. The dashboard for April, and all that have been said are here. You can see the killings in red. We have for month of April 211 killings. 211 killings, and out of these 211 killings, we have it on record that 82 are attributed to bandits alone. Bandit-related killing, 82 out of the 211. We also have kidnapping as 99, and as you can see, the Northwest continues to lead in kidnapping with 74 in the month of April. What else am I missing? And then, of course, the killing of security and law enforcement. We cannot emphasize much about how the killing of law enforcement, you kill a policeman. You have not just killed a Nigerian. You've not just deprived someone of right to life. You have killed a policeman whose role is to defend the public and ensure that they enjoy their human rights. We are not saying that policemen or Nigerian Armed Forces personnel are special. Whilst they remain as ordinary as every Nigerian citizen, but we owe our liberty to our law enforcement. We owe our liberties to our military and armed forces personnel. So when they are killed, the way we are beginning to see on a monthly basis, in the long run, human rights and civil liberties are also impacted. And that is the point we want to make to you today. So I would just want to pause here for a while, and if there are questions, we'll take it.
Amongst most of the things we are doing, this is really bringing out our work very clearly. A lot of people have expressed thanks to the Commission for this dashboard. A lot of our friends in the media and in the development sector, they look forward to this every month. So we are committed to the process. And like we promised the last time, we'll keep on improving on this. And I must thank especially the media for the wonderful work. I just came back from Geneva, and it's amazing that even our friends in London and elsewhere agree now that the Commission has grown in leaps and bounds, that most of what we are doing are being noticed all over the world, and that it is really difficult today for you to say you cannot see what the Human Rights Commission is doing in Nigeria. We are well respected because the meeting we went for is a meeting of the Global Alliance of National Human Rights Institutions. That means Nhrc, you remember? Where we are granted A status. We are given our own certificate of the A status during this Nhrc meeting. And it's a meeting where we have, we share peer group experience. NHRIs from all over the world come around to share experiences. And it was very clear that the Nigerian NHRI is up above there, and people were waiting eagerly to listen to how we are doing it here. Our National Action Plan on promotion and protection of human rights, our NAP on business and human rights. He needed to see, we are sharing experiences, how people were taking notes so that they could go back and replicate some of the processes in their own climes. You could imagine the kind of partnership we have with the Nhrc, protecting displaced communities, refugees, stateless persons. These were all issues, and we are sharing our own experiences. Some of them were just starting, and we told them that as far back as 2012, 2013, we had strong partnerships, sharing the protection sector working group and all these things. And then our tripartite agreement with the UNDP as well was on the table as well. So there are so many things we are doing which other countries. And then, more importantly, we have been very, very vocal when it comes to condemning human rights violations in this country. And people are taking note. So all of you are doing very well. The media has really made all this possible. So no matter what, I must keep on thanking the media for the support they have given this commission to promote its mandate. And for you human rights defenders who work every day, I cannot thank you enough. Hillary and his team and the staff of the National Human Rights Commission, the media group in the commission, I really want to thank you for the marvelous work we are doing. So please keep doing what you know, that when you are being told that you are doing work, the reward is more work. So they are expecting us to sustain, not only to sustain what we are doing, but to scale it up. So thank you once more for being part of this process. The dashboard is one of the key work the Commission is doing, and the international community is actually looking forward to this every month. So let's hear your questions and see where we can offer some solutions. Thank you.
Explain a few things to the ears, and then we can take the victim impact assessment. Go back now. Okay, maybe you go up to issue. We have done, as you know, what made up that 200 are also full swoop. So we identified the states.
Success stories too, because we get people writing us to thank us for intervening and so on and so forth. So we can always get the figures, though by our rules of practice we don't disclose the names of some of these complainants for their own confidentiality. So we will factor that in. But I can tell you there is a lot of impact, a lot of people, cases are being resolved, and they are quite grateful to the Commission. Like you said, things like domestic violence, things like sexual and gender-based violence, there are cases that also have been reported to the police. We need to track that and see how many of them are undergoing prosecution. There are cases where the Commission has also partnered with UNDP to empower them. If you look at cases around domestic violence and sexual and gender-based violence, most of them are rooted in empowerment. So even when you resolve it without empowering the person falls back to being sexually violated or domestically violated again. So in the course of our work, we have discovered that those victims who are not empowered, they run the risk of going through that kind of treatment again. So part of our strategy is to work with development partners who now, once we identify that, yes, you have been violated in this regard, we now go the next step further to partner with them to, give them some life skills, give them some starter packs, and so on and so forth. We should be able to give you that as time goes on. Then, of course, you cannot overestimate the power of awareness. You know, like I was telling you, I was just coming from far away Geneva now, and people are telling me they are seeing the work we are doing. They are seeing the publications we are making. They are looking at the reactions we have to even things like, you know, the arrest of journalists, you know, the action of law enforcement agents, and so on and so forth. In as much as we cannot stay here now and say how many people have been discouraged because of that, but who could have known what the level would have been if not for the kind of awareness that have been created. As for the case of the challenges faced by Nhrc outside funding, we do face a lot of challenges in our work. And in fact, we had to establish a counseling and trauma unit in the office. Do you know why? Because a lot of staff in doing this work themselves become highly traumatized. And their mental health is in jeopardy. Though we have complainants who come here, and we also identify that part of the treatment they need is to go through some, you know, trauma counseling, some psychotherapy, and so on and so forth. But even the staff go through a lot of trauma. I can tell you, when I was a director, there was a day I came to the office, and the first file on my table, because I was the director for legal and investigation then, the first file of my table was the case of a 6-year-old girl, you know, who was raped. You know, the parents were living in this face me, I face you kind of house, and the father had gone off in the morning. The mother was having a small business of selling pepper and salt in front of the compound, and the woman had just stepped out. Not quite 30 minutes. She stepped out. Before she came back, one of the young boys who was living inside the same face me, I face you apartment had teared this girl apart. I started calling my wife, you know, to know where my daughter was. Had she been brought back from school and all? You know, I couldn't concentrate anymore, you know. So each time my girls were not with me or something, it's like, who knows? You know, if within 30 minutes a woman steps out of her shop and before she comes back, the girl is screaming. So it's so the staff who treat these cases every day are highly traumatized. They are highly traumatized. So that's a challenge, you know. Then you have the issue of do you know at times we go to police station to release somebody who is being detained, police will now detain us. They'll push you to them and they'll start calling me here before the person is released. We've had some of our girls here who are investigating domestic violence cases or something. If it's a lady who is doing the mediation and maybe the woman is at fault, and then along the line, the woman will start accusing the lady that she's now going out with the husband. That is why the case is is now favoring. Instead of admitting that probably, you know, or the other way around, you know, maybe the man is a male investigation officer, and the man doesn't want to swallow his ego to say what he has done is wrong, and if the MOU is tending towards favoring the wife, he will now start accusing the man that he's eyeing the wife now. That is why he's not, you know. So there's so many things which you cannot come and start saying here. But we do face a lot of things. Of course, the financial one is unlimited, because can you imagine if you went for an investigation with an official vehicle? You will have some dignity. But if you came with Okada, how will you? In the first place, the person you are coming to help needs to believe that you are in a position to help. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like when we were commissioning our office in Lagos 2 weeks ago. The staff were excited for so many things. They said at least when our partners come here now and we tell them we're Human Rights Commission, we can deal with their complaints and resolve it. They'll believe us because we are not staying in one ramshackle, obscure something, one flat that the landlord will be threatening you with payment of rent and eviction every day. You know, so when their partners now come to their building, they say, oh, yes, this person is in a position to even assist us. You know, so these are issues, you know, which are there. We grapple with them every day, you know. Things like going to, you know, police detention centers to go and you go there, you are frustrated. The man will tell you, oh, the DPO is not around, wait for the DPO to come. Meanwhile, the act says we can visit without notice. And all they are trying to do is to clean up. Because you have taken them by surprise, they'll tell you, no, maybe you got there by 9. They say, oh, DPO will come by 10, 11, and you know, we cannot open the cell unless the DPO comes. By that 10 o'clock, they tell you, oh, the DPO was invited by the CP that in Owerri, wait till 1 o'clock. All they are trying to is to go and use Izal and clean the floor there so that when you enter, you know, so now you have empty hands. Are you going to fight somebody with arms at the police station to force him that you must go and see the cell? You understand what I'm saying? Or you want to go and visit a prison and they will tell you, oh, no, because of security, because the place is housing Boko Haram, you cannot just come this morning and say, we must open the prison for you, you know, you have to, you know. So how we get around some of those things is that, for instance, we will tell you we are going to be coming from August to December, right? Some people have argued that violates our mandate, which says we should visit without notice. But you are faced with a situation where, let us say, you are going to Lokoja from Abuja. I have served as a special assistant, a former executive secretary, and I've been a director here for years. I can tell you there has hardly ever been any situation where we are investigating any complaint and we got any directive from government to do it this way or that way. It has never happened in the history of this commission. So if you come to our independence, I have no doubt in myself that we are very, very, very independent. But you know, this thing of independence is of the mind. You must have the guts to assert your independence. If every day I rush to the minister and say, sir, I want to have meeting on dashboard today, that is my own weakness. Do you understand what I'm saying? So part of independence is also, you know, the character involved, or your willingness to assert your independence, which is very, very critical. And that's why we feel that looking inwards in getting the executive secretary of this commission is a major plus. Because if you don't know a terrain, if you go and get somebody else now who has not been used to this kind of small challenges we are talking about, you may think they are small until when you are on the seat and you have to take decisions concerning them. You see how tough it is. If it's somebody who doesn't know the terrain, they will overwhelm the person and the person will start running helter-skelter and you lose your independence. But if you have been able to weather the storm, you can know that you have resources inside that you can consult and be able to cross some of these bridges. So as for interference from the government, it has never happened. You can even see during the last dissolution of boards, all the boards were dissolved, but what happened in the case of Nhrc? The government said our board is not a board that can be dissolved because of our independence. So what else do you want me to say? Is that not a clear statement that even the government understands and accepts our independent status, and they have respected it? So I want to thank them for that, because our law states clearly that in the discharge of our mandate and carrying out our operations, we shall not be subject to the direction or control of any authority or person. So it has never happened. We feel free to do our work. If anything goes wrong, we condemn it. We have never shied away from condemning anything that was wrongly done in this country because of fear of reprisal or what. It has never happened. There was only one case in the past where the executive secretary, had a swipe at the government because of the third-term agenda of government, where he condemned it and he was removed. And that was in 2006. And as a result of which, the Global Alliance of National Human Rights downgraded the commission from A status to B status and insisted that our law must be amended to what we have today, And the government complied. Our law was amended in 2010. The provision that we shall not be subject to control of any authority or person was enshrined in the law by the government itself. The independence of our funding. We know we don't receive much, but the funding of the commission is under the Consolidated Revenue Fund, what we call statutory transfer. They may not give us 100 billion, but if they give us 1 billion, that 1 billion must be released 100% by the end of the year. So when we ask for more financial support, it is to be able to, for instance, carry out more investigations. Like we are doing a public hearing. Human rights does not give you warning. We can finish this meeting now. By this evening, there's